Okay, so today, I've structured the whole session in a particular way. So we'll go about it. Basically, I wanted to tell you about first to start with, the introducing some of the major billing vendors. You can see in this slide, like Amdocs, Convergers, Solution, CSG, LHS. These are all some of the major billing product vendors. Okay, in the sense, you may by now be in a position to understand that billing product is a very sophisticated product. That is, and a company, most telecom service providers have to have the best billing system as a competition tool. Like, if you want to be in the market to introduce some new ideas and products, you should be able to bring it. And to bring that, you need a very good billing tool. Otherwise, you will not be able to do it. So that is why some of these vendors are consolidated over so many years, and they have become very, very big names actually. Now, what I would suggest is, I would help the take the help of class coordinators. Basically, what you guys should do is distribute it amongst yourself. Go through some of these sites, allocate yourself, and then just explore them in great detail. Go to the sites and then try to understand the product features. This will be kind of a project work for you guys. Okay, what I am planning to do at the end of this whole session is that you would be in a position to, as a group, as a team, you will be able to compare the products across the various vendors, and then you will be in a position to say, okay, the differentiate between them, and then also understand which product would be good for what. Okay, depending on the business goal of that particular service provider, how he wants to work in the market, you should be able to basically come to a decision. Okay, looking at this. So what I would suggest is that I would take the help of the coordinator here, so that each of you guys are assigned some particular product. One of the vendors from here websites, and then week on week, let's discuss it. Whatever you guys have come out, for will take 5-10 minutes as to what you have found, as to what inferences, what you guys have to say about it. Maybe you can make a small 1 or 2 slide presentation yourself and then send it to me, so that I can basically be in a position to give a feedback on how you guys are doing on that. So do you think that's a good idea? Because at the end of this session, this is not it's not billing, not like some nuclear physics or some quantum mechanics or something. We need to do a lot of interaction, okay, and then a lot of your own work which is needed, so that you or together we come out, and it is very contextual. Like what we studied today, down 3 years down the line, the whole study on this particular offering would be different. Okay, because by then market would have changed. You will have LTE or something. You will have some 4G. So the different kind of business models will be there. So the products all will change. So it is has some current context, and it will be a good idea that we understand the various products in the market, and we're in a position to understand, differentiate, and the speed. What sort of infrastructure does it require? How does it interface with the rest of the ecosystem? All that we'll be able to understand. So shall we do this? Hmm? Okay. Now we just this thing read about it. Discussed this last time. That is, there are various charges that the billing system takes care of. One is the rental charge, okay, and this is the monthly whatever that you are doing, and then other one is the usage charge. Okay. Now just take a case of a very simple company, might be having say 1,000 customers, okay, and let us say you are offering some internet service, or you can say you started a telecom company like Videocon or something. They started, they are introduced, and today they are in the market, and their billing systems are not yet fully ready. They want to start the operations. Okay, in that case, it would be a very simple, straightforward thing how to do this particular activity. Your customer base is very small. You will not have too many products to offer. You might have 1 or 2 rental schemes, and you might have, depending on the rental. Like if the rental is high, usage charges can be made lower, because what every service provider expects is that he will get certain kind of an ARPU from a customer. ARPU, you all mentioned, average revenue per user. Let us say the target is per customer he wants to get say 1,000 rupees from so-called wealthy customers, and middle class customer, let us say he wants to get 700 rupees. So then he has to fix his rental and usage in such a way that he would be in a position to offer both to the so-called premium as well as the normal customers in such a way that he can meet this ARPU objective. Okay. So now, if you do this for a small profile, you might be able to manage very easily. You can even probably do with Excel sheets or something, and then you will be able to do it. Now, as you grow in volume, okay, as the number of customers keeps going up and all that, and your profile will vary. Like you take a city like Bombay, you got people who are very high end of the market who can. I mean, like, you always leave out the top 5% and bottom 5%. Even if you take the 90% profile of the population, you will have a huge variation. Okay, though ours is supposed to be a socialist country, it's not really. In the sense, there are very rich people and very poor people, and the spectrum is very vast. You cannot even categorize into three categories: rich, medium, and poor. It is in each of these category again. You will have a very wide range. So, if you have a telecom business in hand and you want to do this sort of segmentation, customer segmentation, you will have to create a lot of rental schemes and a whole lot of usage mechanism by which you can address the whole segment and position it in such a way, and so that the entire population profile you can capture. Or there might be some what do you call this thing, companies which might basically say that I don't want so many segments. I'm going to look at only student segment and so-called young executives segment. So then they can position their product like Virgin sometime was trying to do. I don't know if you guys are aware. Okay, so there all their plans and everything will align to that. Okay, so these are the various mechanisms by which the rental and usage charges are continuously tweaked to touch the target population. Now you may be aware, like around 20 years back, 2000. I mean, around 20 years back, there was only one BSNL and MTNL, if you recall. And I mean, I don't know whether any of you may not even know, how it is to happen. That is, when you apply for a telephone service, what will happen is they will generate, the telecom company will generate something called a work order. Okay, what that work order will do is they will basically allocate. The work order consists of two things. That order will allocate a person who will basically do the actual connectivity work at your place, and will also generate a job card for that person to do. One of the first thing that we'll do is basically do something in the switch area, whereby they will have to do some hard wiring on the switch. Okay, and after that, at the place where you are residing or where your office is, there will be some kind of a marshalling rack will be there, wired rack. Okay, where from the switch the wires are coming and terminating. So there will be a work order issued to take the connection from there and bring it to your house. Okay, this whole activity is called provisioning. That is making a connectivity available from your place of residence or wherever you want the service to the nearest point from where the telecom can get into the network. This whole activity of connecting together the whole thing is called provisioning. So not only they had to do the provisioning of the hard wire that reaches your office, they also had to give an instrument. Okay, so the instrument comes to you. So the instrument also attracts a rental. Okay, so if you look at the earlier days when during the landline days, even today the landline, if you go, it has to go the same route. Or let us say you go for your DTH or you go for internet service, almost a similar thing is being done. They will bring a device. Okay, the device has got a cost, and then the device will either it will be given to you at full cost or it will be a rental charge. Like when you go back, get out of the network, when you terminate your contract, they will take that piece back. So all these things add up to one-time cost. Okay, so the first bill will contain all this cost. It will contain the one-time cost, and they used to also charge deposit for the instrument that they are giving you. You remember they used to charge around 1,500 rupees. So the first bill will contain all these costs, the deposit cost and your one-time installation charge, all that it will be there. Okay, so So the first bill will be different from the subsequent, and then you also, many of you must be staying in rented houses, okay. In a rented house, when do you pay the rent to the house owner? You pay the rent actually in the beginning of the month. In the sense, like I'm not aware of any house owner who takes rent after the month is over. It takes, in fact, always beginning. So it is the same thing here also. Like the rentals are always charged in advance. Okay. So all those things will be, you have to understand, all these things would be part of the first bill. That is, it has to have basically advance, rent for this month plus advance rental for the next month has to come. Okay. I'll go to the next. See, billing system functionality, last time also we discussed. Basically, it is that rating and billing. Rating happens continuously, okay, and billing happens only at the time of billing. These are two functions. The rating is a continuous activity, while billing happens at the time of you generating a bill, which will be monthly, or quarterly, or 15 days, fortnightly, depending on the contract. Okay, you will have, that is the kind of thing. Okay, now last time we didn't discuss this much. There is this payment processing. Okay, posting of customer payments to customer account. Let us say your bill is say 1,000 rupees, and you went and paid this 1,050 rupees actually. Okay, this payment, how does it reach your customer account? See, as I told last time, that is, you have basically two major databases in your system. One is your customer database, and then service database. Okay, and then here in the customer service database, you will have all these details of your billing, current month's billing information. Okay, which will contain basically the unbilled charges. And at the end of the billing cycle, this unbilled will be billed and will become reset to zero. Okay. So when you make a payment, what has to happen is that your billed amount will continuously reflect. Okay, that is till its payment is made. So against the customer, let us say for this month 1,000 rupees bill has been generated, it will show bill generated is so much and payment is nothing, zero. Start with no payment would have been done. So now somewhere along the way you pay 1,050. So what happens is you will have a credit amount of 50 rupees. So the credit amount has to reflect in your customer data. That is, your 50 rupees will be given as extra. So next month when you generate a bill of say again 1,000 rupees, actual bill will be 1,000 minus credit, whatever is there, will become 950. Understood? So this is basically the payment posting. Now many of us make payment in many different ways. You might make a payment in credit card. Okay, you go to the web store and then pay the credit card, or you might pay the money through so-called SSK units. Anybody has paid Vodafone bill, they will say that you can go to the SSK and make the payment. Or let's say you go physically and pay cash. Okay, or you send a check to some address which they have given you. You do so many things. So now all these things have to go and hit the system correctly. Now, in order to for going and hit the system correctly, like you just write us some check and then send it. How will the payment get posted to your name correctly? That is a very critical thing. Like you make a payment, it should not reflect against him. Okay, so let's say your name is also Naresh Gupta, his name is also Naresh Gupta, and there are various ways that the payment can get mistaken. So very important reference here is either your number or your customer account number. Everybody has got an customer account number, or they will have this mobile number or whatever it is. So based on that, you will be able to access the correct place where the posting should happen. Understood? And many telecom companies are very critical to, very critical for them to know, as on today, what is the payment. Okay. See, cash, as I told you last time, cash flow is what the business is all about. It's a cash business. Why do you think people like to come to this business? Because it's a lot of cash flow is there. And any business that is a cash flow will attract a lot of competition. And so at any particular date, like for example, most of the billing companies which are big in India, they have billing cycle happening every second or third day. That is, first there will be one cycle, third, fifth, seventh, ninth, like that. Every throughout the month there will be bill cycle, and therefore bills are always due at any point of time. Like today, for example, what is the date? 25th. So guys who got the bill on 5th, 7th, 9th, 20 days is the payment time. So their bills will be due now. So you need to continuously monitor whether these payments are coming. So like for example, you will have like today, for example, if you go and check up in your records, you will find guys who have to whom you have given the bill on 5th, around 90% should have been paid by now. Okay. Now, if some guys are not paid, obviously you will have to give them a telephone call or SMS saying that they are not paid. So this is an activity which is, I don't know whether many of you might understand how a telecom company works. You will understand now why this is so critical, because many of you guys continuously get calls throughout the month, depending if you guys are not paid. It comes through this only. Because there is a fellow who is monitoring. Today my collection should have been 150 crores, let's say across the company. Across India, I am supposed to get, some big boss is counting, he's asking, hey, each circle, how much money did you collect? So the total figure, average is expected to be 150, but he gets only 120. Now 30, they will have to figure out, at least they will have to collect by the next day. Okay, because it's getting delayed payment. And the efficiency of this business is on collection. If you don't collect in time, you are losing money. I explained to you last time again why this is so, because this business is all about collecting in time. So did you understand the importance of this payment posting and payment not posting, follow up, all that, so from that perspective, it's very important that the billing system has a very good posting mechanism, payment posting mechanism. Now, let me just tell from some IT perspective. Is there anybody from IT systems here? Guys who are basically computer science guys, or you're all purely business types? Okay. See, it will be very interesting to know, that is, when the continuously the usage is getting processed. We are talking about a very huge operation, okay? Across the country, the billion population is making calls, the CDRs are landing up. At the same time, some few millions are making payment here, there, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, they are making payment. It has to come and hit your system. Now, when it can so happen that, the billing system should be capable of doing both of the things at a time. Because if you all understand something called this database, now database has got a way of locking database. Like, it's, when it is doing rating, somebody tries to do a posting of payment there in that particular customer's account, there will be some deadlock, like, let me do my job first, then you can post. Now, what is more important? Let's say you are going to do the bill printing today, and just before billing, then guys have made the payment, okay? So if I made a payment like in time, I would expect that in next month bill, that my payment should reflect. But let's say because of some IT system is heavy usage, the guy is not able to, the system is not able to post the payment. So then what will happen? You will get a bill where there will be even late payment charges. You say like you are not paid the bill, you have to pay late, all that will happen. Then you will get very angry. When you say, hey, I post, then they will find out, yes, your payment came 1 day late. Then you will have to say, no, I posted in time, but you guys have made the mistake. So all this will happen. So it is for this reason that as a customer you must pay bill well in advance, so that you don't get into this mess. But as a service provider, it is also their duty that as long as you legally comply with the requirement that it be posted in time, even 1 second before, if you post, it should reflect. Okay, so the system should be capable of managing this. Okay, so these are some of the things which you should look for in a billing product. Like, I was telling you guys are going to analyze various billing vendors. So these are some of the things that you must look for. Like, how is that database capable of, doing multiple transactions in parallel. Okay, and able to have the intelligence of deciding which should come first and which can be held up, all that, Understand? Okay. No, but you see, actually the system where it all gets updated is a central billing system. Okay, there will be a lot of, so what happens is that the payment system guys who is accepting and making the payment, what he's doing is actually is accessing the billing system and posting it. So there will be a deadlock, because otherwise it cannot, it is the same database. Only thing is one fellow is having a one view, while another fellow is having another view. But both of them are touching the same database. Understood? Okay, then comes credit control and collection. Okay, so now credit control, how does this whole credit control business work? Credit control, how it works is, you understand? Okay, you are from credit control team or something? No, no. Okay, see, credit control is an act. See, now it's a bigger topic, so I will give you a smaller overview of the whole thing. See, the entire customer base can be classified, okay, from two things. One is, certain natural attributes they come with. For example, the customer is an executive working in a big company. He earns a big salary. He stays in a posh locality. He drives a car. Okay, so you can look at him and say, okay, this guy is capable of paying his bills. So he gets certain uh, within your definition, you will fit into a particular class. Like let's say A, B, C, D. Let's say you have got 4 classes. A is highly credit worthy, and D is not credit worthy. D is a kind of guy who doesn't have a job. He stays in a place which is may not be rentals or high. And then it reflects basically the social strata of that person. Again, that he does, it might be a poor background. So obviously, you will not attach this guy the same credit rating as the A class. Okay, so let's say there are 4 classes A, B, C, D that has been classified. Now you generate a bill at the end of the month. Now when you generate a bill, two things are happening. One is you generate at the end of the bill, and then you are also continuously monitoring during this 1 month how is the usage happening. Suppose let us say I am a D class customer, and normally then like my capability to pay is 1000 rupees, but I'm just making calls over 10,000 rupees. Okay, now you as a telecom company, you will be worried. Okay, this guy is not going to pay up because I will become 10,000 rupees, will become bad debt for me. Like I might have to forget it. So what you will do is you will take caution to call up and say, man, like, you have already used more than 1000 rupees, which is the limit that we guys have told you. Come pay up, and then you can take the rest. And then you can continue to use. If he pays up, then you let him use. If he doesn't pay up, you bar his service, because you don't want to take the risk of making him continue to use. So the billing system should be able to help you to define these kind of classes, or it should be able to give you at least an alert when a particular credit custom goes beyond a certain limit which you have set, so that corresponding action can be taken. So this is a very simple, crude way of credit control that I can. This is basically what I am telling you is simply from where the person comes from. This is from appearance, the credit rating that you are given. Now beyond appearance, there are many other things which decide a credit rating. That is called a good behavior. Like for example, I'm a D class guy who got into your billing system. I'm taking your service, but every month, even before within 5 days of the bill, I'm making the payment. Like I'm always making payment immediately as soon as I get the bill. And there is even at a time when I did not get the bill, I'll call up and say, hey, I didn't get the bill. Now what is my bill? And then you tell, and all these interactions get noticed. Okay, so they increase the credit rating of this customer. So what happens? I might be a D class customer having a very poor background, but because of my good behavior, I move up. Like the telecom company says, okay, let us give him 2000 rupees credit because he's a good guy. So like that you can move up the credit chain by good behavior. Okay, so all these systems, this should be possible to do it through your billing system. Okay, this is very important. And now comes a little complexity in this whole thing. Like you with the 3G and all coming, you're a sort of normal person, but you do also get tempted. Like with 3G, let's say you watch one song, you want to watch one more, but each time you download a new song, it might cost you a lot of money. So in that case, what happens is you as a good customer yourself can tell, hey, like, I want to have a different kind of a limit for my, I mean, you can personally request that, don't let me go beyond 500 rupees on data usage. If I go to 500 rupees, you can bar those services. So then what happens is the service provider can ensure that you have a credit limit for overall bill not going up beyond 1500 rupees, and you also can ensure that your data usage doesn't go beyond 500 rupees. Okay. So these are some of the things that you can do. Then let's come to these disputes and adjustments. Okay. See, many times you will find that your calls are dropping. You are talking to somebody and then it just drops. Your whole call becomes meaningless, and you could not conduct your business. Okay. And each time you make a call, somehow the telecom company registers that you made a call, but you repeatedly fail to have a transaction. So ultimately, if somebody sees your usage, they will find that this guy has used for very minimum, multiple number of calls for 2 seconds, half a second, 1 second. And each time you make a call, the minimum call fees will get billed. So obviously you will not accept this, you will say this is not fair, like why is it like this? So then the customer service person who is talking to you can make out that, there has been some problem in the network, or it's not, you're not made the calls, or you shouldn't have been billed for that particular thing. So they can give something called an adjustment. Or let's say, for example, you ask for a rate plan change. Okay? You're being currently rated at 50 paisa per call, but you made you wanted to go in a different scheme which will charge a 30 paisa per call. Maybe you pay higher rentals. Then you might find to your surprise that you've been continued to rate in the previous, as per the previous thing, and you're not getting the benefit of your rate plan change. So you can then discuss with them and say, boss, this is what's happened. Then the customer service representative is authorized to give you certain credit, or he can waive off that particular claim. Okay, so when he gives waives of that particular claim, as I told you, in the billing system, your current credit or debit amount is there. Okay, let us say currently you have a debit of 50 rupees because of the the dispute. Then the customer service representative can change that 50 to 0. You understand? So the billing system should be capable of doing this sort of things for you. If it say, for example, it does a very accurate billing, everything it does, but doesn't give you this facility, then you have a problem, because a dissatisfied customer, you will have to physically give him cash to shut him up. Understood? So these are the things that you should look for in the billing system. Okay, now see, you may be able to understand that. I mean, obviously, you may not have had the exposure to know this. See, what happens is, when the service started in India for the telecom service providers, you don't have anything called a prepaid billing system and a postpaid billing system. You got just one billing system. And prepaid customers also bring the so-called customer application form, and this has to be sort of stored somewhere. The prepaid customers' data should be available somewhere. And there is also, many of you may or may not know that most of the calls which are there in almost all the calls which are made in a particular network have to be made available in the so-called legal system, like the so-called regulatory system, because the regulators will anytime want to know, even 2 or 3 months later, that what calls are made by whom to whom, and what, or there could be legal cases, like somebody can say, I've been excess charged, somebody else has used my mobile number. You might have heard of this mobile number cloning and all that, I know. Okay, so many of these cases, when they come for discussion, you have to have the old data coming in. So what we have today ended up having systems that in the same, in one particular customer database, you will have all customers there. Pre, post, all will be there, and you may only postpaid will be generating for the billing, but customer data will be available for all. Now it is not the case with all service providers, depending on which service provider. Like there are some companies whom I know, they have segregated pre and post in the CRM system itself. Like, the prepaid won't come and enter into the postpaid system. But there are certain customers who have, because of some of the IT system constraint, they ended up having also the prepaid data in the postpaid system, billing system. So that's what this basically means. Like, supporting both and prepaid, postpaid customer database. Multilingual and multiple currencies to support if the bank is spread across globe. And see, this is this is a case in one of the companies where I was worked, which is basically involved in international business. That is, this company what I was talking about is basically have this something called fiber optic connection between continents. Okay, so it owns all the wires, the fiber optics which travel from say India to Australia via Hong Kong, Japan, Fiji, and all that. So voice traffic to Hong Kong can be offloaded, and you can pick up from Hong Kong to Australia voice traffic in that same network and then drop it in Australia. So this is an international carrier business. So the international carrier business, for each country they cannot have a billing system. They will have only one common billing system across the world. Now when you, so my bill should be, usually you have in the contracts written the language for communication will be English. Okay. So, but then the billing currency could be multiple currency. Like, for example, if you are billing Japanese companies, you have to bill in Japanese yen. And if you are billing South Korean, you have to bill it in won. If you are billing in Europe, you have to be euros. And if it is Britain, it has to be pounds. And so if it is US, it is dollars. And like that, you have to have multiple currencies in your system, and you should be able to generate the current exchange value, so that you are not sort of disturbed because of the currency fluctuations. Okay. Say for example, I mean, for you to understand this, like many of you will know today, euro is gone up compared to dollar. Previously dollar was up and euro was down. Now euro is very much up and dollar is down. And let's say you had originally signed a contract for payment in dollars. Okay, like your service is costing $400 per month, but then the guy in Europe will say, don't give me a dollar bill, give a euro bill. Now dollar values every month changes to the corresponding euro value changes every month. So this month it will be 350 euros. $500 is equal to 350 euros. Next month when I bill, actually it might be 360 euros. For me, the anchor point is $500 is continuous, but then the other bill will vary. The euro bill 360, 370, 340, 330 like that. So one or two customers, yes, you can call up Reserve Bank of India, get the rates and put it. But if it is multiple countries, multiple days, then obviously then your system should be integrating with some central bank for getting the rates. You understand? The billing system should be able to go pick up the exchange rate and then put it in the bill. Understand? Am I clear? If you are doing international billing every day, yes, it will change. Every day it will change. And then normally the agreed value will be the time, they will say specific time, 3 o'clock central bank closure hours, something like that, So at that particular time you have to take. So if you go to the RBI website, you will find at this time what is the currency value. You might make the bill at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, anytime, but then you need to take that particular time what the currency value is. You cannot take, so that is there in the agreement. That's how it will have to be done. So this you understand what is the prepay billing. Prepay billing is, I mean, you take the money in advance. While in the post pay, you want to charge them at the, I mean, what is basically fundamental type. One is prepay billing and other is post pay billing. That is, after you give the services, you do the billing. Now, what's an interconnect billing? Any of you know what interconnect billing is? Can you just, any of you tell? Between operators. Somebody told me it's between operators. Yes, correct. That is between operators. What happens is, all of us should know that we have in India 23 circles, and each of these circles has got, as per the government rules, certain number of players. I'm not very sure. It is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 number of players are there. And so, like, for example, a guy in Chennai can make an idea call to terminate in Tata Indicom at Orissa. Okay, now how does this call go from, say, Vodafone Chennai to Tata Indicom in Orissa? How will it go? So somewhere it has to move out of Vodafone and then move into Tata Indicom. So what is the sensible thing to do is you give the when the call is traveling in the network, if it travels in my network, I keep the cost. In the sense, I save the cost. But if it travels in somebody else's network, then I have to pay for transporting that call to that person. Okay. So it is a normal practice to hand it over only at the last point of interconnect. It's called this. So at Orissa, I will have a particular line connecting Vodafone network to the Tata Indicom network. On that line, I will terminate so that from there Tata Indicom network will take it and deliver it there. So now I need to pay for Tata Indicom to terminate my calls in the network. So this is similarly when Tata Indicom fellow makes a call to Vodafone, then it can happen in all 23 circles. So imagine the amount of matrix that you will keep. You will have in a particular circle with each operator maybe 111 POI. But if the traffic is very heavy, you might keep it in multiple places. Like for example, take like Maharashtra. Okay, now somebody from Gujarat is calling. He can call Mumbai, he can call Pune, he can call Nagpur. So, but if I have till Nagpur, if I can take it in my network, and then only at Nagpur I change it, it will be cheaper for me. So I will need to, because the state is bigger, circle is bigger, traffic is more, I can increase the number of point POIs, to make sure that I keep the cost. I know I get the benefit of keeping that call in my network the maximum amount. Okay, so this is a very huge mathematical and kind of a statistics students, they might find it very interesting because it comes in a lot of this least cost routing algorithms and all will come into the play. Yeah. Yeah, that's what you can. Yeah, you mean three operators like Idea, Airtel, and what? I don't know. In one call, how three operators can come? No, no. If I'm calling you, I'm having, let's say, Reliance, and you're having Tata Indicom. So Reliance is calling Tata, so it will be only one point of interconnect. No, Reliance line will move into a Tata line. Same thing. That is, let us say you are somewhere else. Okay. Whether, see, the long distance carrier, if I am not having a long distance carrier network or thing, I would route it through some service provider from whom I have routed the long distance call. Okay. And then later on take it. So that's a different line of business. So how I am taking that call, whether I have purchased it myself or whether I am owning it or buying it from somewhere, that is not material to this discussion on interconnect. Because that won't come. The interconnect is basically between the operators at whichever point you are connecting. That is an NLD business or national long distance business. That's a different business altogether. Understood? You should not mix up these two. Conference. I mean, what conference? You making, suppose you call me and I take him on conference like that. Yeah, see, it's no rocket science. What happens is he is calling from Reliance, he is calling me in Tata. So Tata Reliance one cross connection is there, that will be there. Okay, so one POI call will be there. Now I am taking him in a conference. Okay, so he is, let us say I am Reliance, he is Tata, and let's say he is Airtel. Then Reliance and Airtel, they will be on POI. Okay, so all three are connected. So I will have two interconnect calls here to be built. One is here and one is here. Got it? Then another type, see, I mean, if you look at here, we are just talking what are the different types that calls that you are building. One is prepaid, postpaid, and then we talk about interconnect. Then comes about roaming. Now, roaming charges. I mean, I'm sure most of you know what roaming is, but just see and CDM. So Reliance will have by which the network itself latches you on, because they have the agreed, their switches are configured to this thing. What do you call, to latch you into the network when you go there. It's a provision in the switches. So whereby that when you go from here to that particular circle, you get latched on that, and then you will be billed for basically roaming. That is, Airtel is providing you the service there. Whatever calls that you are making, it will come in the Airtel switch. So Airtel, what will do it will generate something called this thing for the roaming file. Okay, something called a tap in, tap out files get generated, and then they come to you and to the billing service provider, and then he will basically include it in your bill, and you will see that in your bill that you have gone to West Bengal, and during when you are in West Bengal you have made these and this calls. So this is how those roaming charges get billed with your billing system. See, clear, it's a very complex subject. No? I mean, roaming is one of the most complex subject because the usage is not coming from your switch, it's coming from somebody else. Okay, and that CDRs you are rating again, it is coming in a different format, it is coming in a tab format, and then when you are rating them you might find that they are rejections, and then you will have to send it back. That's called a RAP format, rejection format. It will so it is it's a very complex thing. When roaming first happened, it was a revolution actually, because otherwise previously there was a constraint that you could not move from your circle to some other circle, because if you go to some other circle you cannot make a phone call. That it used to be that bad. Then only the roaming facility started, and once the roaming started, then the roaming became a tool for doing a lot of fraud, because there is a delay in the roaming records from reaching the original service provider, and by the time that fellow can incur so much expenditure that it's economical for him to terminate the relationship. And from national roaming, if you look at international roaming, it can be still worse. Like in abroad, calls are charged in dollars. So just imagine the guy goes abroad and then does a lot of roaming calls, and then he just terminates. That's why the credit control function all comes in very important here, because for credit control you need to make sure that the roaming calls are immediately reflecting in that guy's unbilled usage. Roam. Okay, you know that. Then it's called intra-circle roaming. Like take for example a circle like Bihar. The Bihar came into mobile world much later than the rest of the states. But then Bihar is a very huge state, and at the same time, by the time Bihar and all came into sort of the attention, it became very expensive for the operators to put the infrastructure, because the revenues have already come very low, 30 paisa per call. Okay, and then the rest of, for example, in Maharashtra, infrastructure was put when the call was 2 rupees per call or 150 per call. Now on 30 paisa per call, how much infrastructure can you put? So what happens is many of these companies have agreed amongst themselves, like Idea, Airtel, Vodafone, and all said, okay, this particular districts I will give full coverage, this districts you give full coverage. So within the circle, if my guys come to your territory, you take them on your network. Your guys come to my network, I will take care of them. And between themselves, they do the settlement. Like there's they don't have to go to a third roaming part. I mean settlement agent. Like last time we discussed, there is a agency which is basically which does this settlement. You don't have to do that. You can settle it within themselves. So that is called intra-circle roaming. Now TRAI is permitted that. TRAI is permitting something called passive infrastructure sharing. Because you must be aware that Government of India wants rural India to be fully serviced. Okay. Now you can't go to rural India and fully service them unless these sort of things are allowed. Because if your cost of infrastructure is some crores of rupees and your revenue is going to be even in thousands, how can anybody put? Then convergent billing. Convergent billing, I think we discussed last time in detail. That is, customer wants to have multiple services, products to come in one single invoice. So that is what this convergent billing is all about. Now, billing system this is a high level architecture. Before we go into the architecture, you want to have a 5-minute break? Okay. Yes. Okay, I can go.